polite hand gesture, Angie gritted her teeth and turned around. She tried to walk stealthily toward the crowd, so the woman who'd spoken to her earlier wouldn't see her. Angie kept an eye on the woman, but she paid no attention to Angie. Relief soothed some of the apprehension in Angie's chest. She might be able to make it to the cafe she'd come to without attracting any more. "Hey!" A young woman with pink highlights stopped her. "Are you trying to get back into the chapel?" Why did everyone think she wanted to get in the damn chapel? No. "Oh," the woman said disappointedly. Seconds later, she brightened. "You're arranging something cool for them when they come out, aren't you? Please tell me it's a flash mob." "It's not a flash mob," Angie responded immediately. Apparently, managing the woman's expectations was more important than getting herself out of her current predicament. "I am trying to arrange something for them, but I have to get past you to do that." "You're too late," the woman said, panic in her eyes. "They're here." Her expression turned sympathetic. "I'm sure they'll forgive you, though. You can go through here." The woman stepped back, creating a path for Angie before nudging Angie forward. The man she bumped into glanced back with a frown. Then his eyes lowered over Angie and he nodded, shifting so Angie could move forward. The couple in front of him did the same, as did the people in front of them, until finally Angie found herself with an unobscured view of the wedding party as they made their way out of the chapel. Seeing the bridesmaids clarified why Angie was in this situation. There wasn't, as Angie had begun to fear, a sign on her forehead identifying weddings as one of her least favorite activities, challenging people to change her mind. She was simply wearing an almost identical dress as the bridesmaids. Hers was shorter, with a deeper neckline, but she could understand why no one had noticed those differences. Hell, she was wearing the dress, and it had taken her a moment too. It was unfortunate, and reinforced the voice in her head that told her she was too dressed up for a road trip. But the dress helped her feel confident, which was something she'd desperately needed to keep the unraveling at bay. It was there even now, taunting her, telling her she should have listened to the rational part of her that warned her against stopping at the cafe, claiming that being mistaken as a bridesmaid at a wedding was punishment for not listening. She took a breath to compose herself, to push the unraveling away, and told herself she'd expected this. She'd known the trip back to Cape Town would be hard. When she'd seen the green board with its white lettering indicating the turnoff to Caledon, when she'd put on her indicator and turned, she'd known it would be a challenge too. It had been 3 years since she'd been in Cape Town after all. 3 years since she'd seen her mother, her sisters. 3 years since her father. She stopped the train of thought, tried to focus on something else, like the fact that it had been even longer than 3 years since she'd been to Caledon. The last time had been with her family, her whole family, not the incomplete unit it had become. Fortunately, she didn't have time to dwell on that when the bride and groom appeared. The guests began throwing rose petals at the newlyweds, and it reminded her of the picture that sat on her mother's bedside table. It was of her parents on their wedding day. They stood at the top of the steps outside the church, looking at each other lovingly, happily, petals raining over their heads. The last time Angie had seen them together, the love had still been there, but the happiness had been missing. "You're unraveling." She swallowed and moved to the basket that had the rose petals in it, grabbing a handful and joining in on the excitement. Though it felt cringy, she clapped. When the photographer announced they'd be taking group photos, she tried to slip away, and was foiled again. "You should stand right in front, young lady," an old man told her, shifting and blocking her way. His entire head was white, sharply contrasting his dark brown skin, his face lightly lined with deeper creases around